with his use of Stormbreath Dragon. Not surprising to see he does have a red card in play. It is a Chandra this time. You saw him use the 0, Bloodstained Mire, and now it looks like he's casting an Elspeth. He's against Ben Steiner. We'll get these board updated for you here, as both these players are sitting at 2-0. You do see Elspeth resolving. Looks like it's going up, so 3 soldiers will be joining the party in just a moment here for Ketter. On Steiner's side, he's got a Vampire token from the Sorin that's in play. The Sorin is on 2, a couple of lands over there, and then a copy of Sylvan Caryatid. Both these players pretty deep into game number 2, as you do see some cards in the graveyards, not very large hands. So we're working our way into what looks to be the late game, as there's our hero's downfall. It's going to go after the Elspeth.
And a lot of these kind of matchups, these 3-color decks, even though they have different elements to them, a lot of it comes down to the post-board games, who just has more cards for attrition matchups. So that comes down to Planeswalkers, removal that works as catch-all, and then sweepers.
Taking a look at Steiner's deck list here, very Arilax-esque. Though he does have 2 main deck copies of End Hostilities. Wonder if he's taken some players by surprise with that effect just yet.
Very uncommon to see in the main deck of these sort of builds. Although it has picked up a little bit in popularity. See more of it than you used to.
And this is kind of secretly like a Jund deck here. He does have, it's 4/7 Caryatid, 4 Courser of Crewfix. We know that, of course, along with 4 copies of Siege Rhino, 2 Wingmate Rocks. And then he has a lot of Planeswalkers, 7 of them, 3 Elspeths, 2 Sorins, and then 2 Ajani's, 4 Absent Charms, 4 Heroes Downfalls, 4 Thoughtseizes, 2 End Hostilities, 25 lands, season to taste. You're good to go.
Makes a lot of sense to go heavier on the Planeswalker route once you're main decking End Hostilities. Because Planeswalkers and Wrath of God, we know those effects synergize very nicely.
Those are a combo.
That's a combo. Because even though they look like they're creatures in the artwork, they aren't really.
They don't die.
Right.
Attack here for 2 in the air. Looks like perhaps we're going to drown in some sorrow. Yes, we are. That'll clear up those soldier tokens. But for Ketter, as he does lose all of his 1/1s, Steiner going to put the top card to the bottom. What's most important here for Kent, he's got a Chandra out there that's active.
Yeah, that's where he can get a lot of power here. Basically drawing 2 cards a turn. Can't really go ultimate with it, although he does have 4 copies of Lightning Strike. Who knows if they're still in his deck, and Ben all the way at 21. So we're not looking to go ultimate right now. This will just act as draw a card each turn. And not a bad card to draw.
Draw an Elspeth.
Sure.
Draw an Elspeth. That's what it'll be this turn, I guess. Draw an Elspeth.
I'm sure Kent will take it.
And there is the 6 mana for the Planeswalker. See if the elevator goes up here. I have to imagine it will. No reason to send it down, so 3 soldier tokens going to come into play. Ketter just doing something that we saw Brad Nelson and Team Revolution do quite well, because there is a Nomad Outpost for passing the turn back, which is they have this red-white aggro deck that could sideboard into a very controlling strategy with Planeswalkers and Wrath effects. And Ketter's hand right now, he does have a copy of Hostilities in case anything goes wrong. And he's got these Planeswalkers out here. And I know that Nelson and the rest of Team Revolution used Chandra and Elspeth to great effect at that tournament.
Well, Kent's list right now, he's very capable of playing offense or defense as the game requires. You can see Chandra, Elspeth, they can be good cappers on the top of your curve if you're beating down, or if you're trying to control and stabilize the game, they can be powerful there too.
Butcher the Horde on top.
Sure.
Another nice 0 button.
Chandra's been on a bit of a heater.
One could say. Now that's it, along with soldiers. Kent gonna sacrifice Bloodstained Mire. See what land he wants to search up. It's gonna be a mountain. Ketter down to 6 right now. So life total a little bit low. Besides that, he's doing all right.
Well, there's not a big risk of getting burned out by Abzan mid-range. You do have to worry about the charms pumping.
Running Rhinos.
Running Rhinos.
Never mind.
This is not a bad way to catch up a bit.
I'll tell you, Planeswalkers are pretty good.
They are.
Sorin's going to go up, sacrifice. These creatures are going to get +1/+0. But more importantly here for Ketter, he's going to gain a bunch of life here. The Butcher, of course, attacking for 6, 7, 9, 10. So it looks like it's going to be a 10-point gain here for Ketter. Not exactly a 10-point life swing, but he will get some damage across. And now he's starting to run away with it.
And he's doing this all with a Glare of Heresy and Hostilities left over in his hand.
A forest to draw here for Steiner to go along with his copy of Mana Confluence. Not what the doctor ordered, to be sure.
Kent's the one who's been able to show up game 2 with the best stuff, and it looks like Chandra's been the best card deployed by either player.
You know, what's strange about this Mardu mid-range, or Mardu mid-range, Mardu aggro, however you want to deem it, it has been, you know, kind of under the radar. And every time we see it on camera, it's like, wow, this deck looks really, really good. And Brad Nelson, of course, top 8 in Grand Prix Los Angeles with this strategy. And we've seen some other players make some top 8s as well. You know, it's just a very, very powerful strategy. A lot of good cards here.
Well, all these 3-color decks aren't a shortage of good cards. So the question becomes, what's the right mix of stuff you want for any given metagame? And Mardu was maybe short of that for the time being, but clearly these cards are here to stay.
Ketter going up Chandra this time, deal plenty of damage to make it so that Tom Ross cannot block. Soren's going to take up as well. A lot of damage going to come through here. Ketter getting himself out of range of anything at this point. He's got active Planeswalkers, got a beautiful Butcher of the Horde. Opponent does have 2 lands in hand.
Gaining 10 life a turn, dealing a lot of damage.
No big deal. Perhaps we will chain something to the rocks. We will. Bye-bye Tom Ross token.
Not a good sign here for Ben if Kent feels like he can afford to throw away a chain of the rocks like that.
Yeah. Of course, you have to put that on a mountain, of course, before passing the turn back over to Steiner, who will draw and will extend the hand. Ketter going to win this match over Ben Steiner, 2-0. Mardu aggro getting the job done for number 11 on our Season 4 leaderboard. And this is an important tournament for Kent as well. You know, he's got off to a great start this year. We remember that during season number 1. We were actually in this building. He lost in the finals of our Standard Open. Season 1, week number 3 to Mike Kenny. Both those players playing Stormbreath Dragons, taking the Boros approach with Chain to the Rocks, cards that Kent is very familiar with. And we'll see if he can actually keep it going. Again, great opening to the year. First 2 invitationals, 9th place. Both of them, so a lot of Open Series points for him. Now he's just kind of hold on.
Exactly. He was the talk of the Open Series Season 1.
Yeah.
And, you know, Chris Van Meter and Brian Brondewin definitely had their finishes, but Kent kind of came out of nowhere and posted up all these top 8s and top 4s.
Yep.
Just hasn't been at many events lately, and the events he has been at had not been particularly good performances, though I believe he has back-to-back 9th place finishes at the Invitational. So you turn any of those into a top 8, and suddenly he's one of the most visible players of the year. Yep. That said, still in a great position to make the Players' Championship, but does have some work to do. For a while, it looked like he was just going to run away with the Season 4 invite. If you go back to Season 1, it looked like no one was going to be able to catch him because he had such a good performance early on in the year. But the combination of not attending very much and not doing well when he was attending, now it's a race again, and he's got some work to do.
And he knew at the back end of the year, you know, that's why we saw him so much in Season 1, Season 2, is because he is attending school. He lives in Bloomington, goes to, I believe, University of Indiana. So, you know, he's got school. He knew he had to attend at the back end of the year. Other commitments as well. He's a big-time paintball player as well. So he knew that he was going to have to try to accumulate as many points as he could at the early stages of the seasons, which he was able to do. And now he's got to get some points and try to hold on here. He's off to a nice start, though, sitting at 3-0 with Mardu. And a deck that I feel we will probably start to see more of as this kind of format develops itself. It just, every time it's on, it just looks very good.
There's a ton of really good cards in it. It's a little slow out of the gates. Also gets to play with kind of the best allotment of removal spells. You get to play red and black, which you're going to have a wide selection of good removal. And once you're in Mardu, you get Crackling Doom as well, which is a unique removal effect. Not that many playable edicts in the format right now. Crackling Doom, the best of the bunch. There's a lot of decks, you know, if you go back, for example, to the old Jeskai Sensi combo deck, the one that was trying to win with Caryatid, most decks in the format couldn't touch Caryatid, and that's where a lot of the power of that deck comes from. Mardu is one of the decks that can kill it, and that is a big swing in a lot of matchups. So it has a diverse set of removal, really good aggressive threats, and Crackling Doom is a unique element that other decks don't have access to and really shifts the way certain matchups change.
It is time for our third match of